Okay. And it makes so much sense. And that's where I've really tried to make sure that as a mom, I'm telling my kids, be your authentic self. It's okay. You won't make, yeah, I will maybe get hurt a little bit if you tell me the truth, but I'll get over it. And I want you to be your authentic self.
It's
And
amazing.
if they learn that now, then hopefully they're able to take that into the world and be more be more grounded in their true self. And this is something though I leads me to my next question.
Mhm.
How do you teach somebody to let go of our conditioned sense of self
Yeah.
that's based on this condition of our past and what people told us we are supposed to be?
I think first we have to become aware and acknowledge that we're conditioned. That's the first part. Because many times we're not even aware that we're conditioned. We think that who we are is who we really are. We think that this version, we'll call it ego, is what we are. Like I am Sarah, this thing. I am Kute with all of my assumptions and associations and stories about myself. Ego is our perceived sense of who we think ourselves to be, our sense of identification. And so when we understand that maybe I'm not who I think I am, like the degree to which we're conditioned to believe we are this version of ourselves is the degree to which we're not free. And that's why you often hear people say, no, this is just who I am. I'm just independent. I'm just this way. And it's not. It's a pattern of conditioning that we hold on to. And so ego is not a thing, it's a process. So first we have to become aware and conscious that we're conditioned. Then we have to be willing to start observing our behaviors, observing our values, behaviors, belief systems, and questioning that. And then as we start to question and observe ourselves, then we can start witnessing and observing what we do and what we don't do. In the observation, you start realizing that, many of my conditioned mechanisms simply have a good intention. The ways I erect walls around my heart and don't open my heart is not because I'm bad. It's not because I'm not willing. It's just, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of getting hurt, like I was going to get hurt again. The job of the ego that we've learned to be is to reinforce its existence. But the job of the ego is to protect us and make sure we never get hurt again. So when we understand the nature of ego, what we think ourselves to be, that we're not really, but is what we think ourselves to be, then we don't have to like judge ourselves when we aren't how we would like to be, or when we're closed, or when we self-sabotage. We can understand that what's driving our behaviors and what's driving our pattern is survival, is self-protection, is fear. Really, underneath it is fear. We're afraid to let go. We're afraid to embrace the unknown. We're afraid to try the new. We're afraid to sometimes open our hearts and love. We're afraid to go on an adventure, do something different, which is why we tend to do the same thing over and over again. We're afraid to change, not because we're bad, just because the ego's job is to reinforce itself, and the ego wants everyone else to change, but it never wants to change because it's secure, it's safe. So when we can understand the drive of the holding on drive, then we can begin to realize that underneath that is fear, and we're holding on so that we don't feel those feelings of helplessness and feeling out of control, or what we felt in childhood. Then when we understand that, then we can maybe start seeing ourselves differently and meeting ourselves with some compassion, with some mercy, because we understand that the holding on is driven by fear. The fear of getting hurt, the fear of not getting needs met, the fear of not being loved, the fear of being alone, it's fear. So the only antidote is compassion, is loving. And that's what facilitates the letting go, when we can hold our patterns. First, when we can observe ourselves, then you begin to realize that if you can observe yourself, what you thought was yourself, your patterns, then you aren't it. If you can observe it, then you aren't it. You are
Right.
that which is observing. Then that allows some space between you and the behavior, between you and the holding on, between you and the resistance, between you and the pattern. Then there's some space. In that space, you have a different relationship with yourself. Then you can meet yourself and hold yourself in the context of love, context of compassion, knowing that these mechanisms developed at a time that you were very young, trying to figure life out, doing the best that you could do. And real healing is the application of love to those parts of ourselves that are hurting. And the part of us that is afraid is a part of us that's hurting. So each time we can meet ourselves with that loving and that compassion, that's what facilitates a bit more of a safety within, a bit more of a letting go inside of ourselves. So just meeting ourselves with grace, like we would a child, when a child is crying, like we would a little baby. How would we hold a baby? And if we can just imagine that and hold ourselves with that empathy, healing starts happening. Because then we're not reinforcing and judging and abusing ourselves in order to change, in order to let go, in order to be better. So if people can remember that healing is applying love to those parts of yourselves that are hurting. One last thing is, one place that people can start if they really want to begin surrendering and breaking through, I would say it this way: one thing that keeps us stuck from truly shifting and changing are all the ways that we lie to ourselves. In so many ways, as human beings, we lie to ourselves. We stay, and sometimes we don't even know we're lying to ourselves, but we stay in relationships that aren't aligned. We betray ourselves to get love, validation, and approval. We suppress our feelings. We work jobs where we maybe are out of integrity and we're doing something out of integrity. And so there is no real healing, no real transformation without truth. And I think truth is real therapy. Truth is real yoga. Truth is real spiritual practice. And so I would invite everyone to really start with a couple of questions. Number one, what lies am I telling myself? Just sitting with that. What lies am I telling myself? And just feel that. Take all the pressure off of having to take action, because sometimes the fear of the consequence, kind of, the ego starts to confuse ourselves, and we start thinking, well, I don't know what my truth is. I don't know what I really feel. I don't know what I really want. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know if this relationship is right, when deep down we have a sense, but we're afraid if I really own it, then I might have to leave. I might have to break up. I might have to move. And so the ego strategy is we stay confused. And so if you take the pressure off and just then say, okay, what lies am I telling myself? And allow yourself to just acknowledge, I hate my job. I hate my job. You don't have to leave, but I hate my job, and feel that. Just take a moment to feel that. I'm not in love. I haven't been in love for 5 years. Just feel that, and just see how that marinates inside. And so, what lies am I telling myself? What am I pretending to not know? And I would say, sitting with, what are the lies that we're telling ourselves? What is it costing you? There is a cost when you lie to yourself. What we often feel is pain. That pain, to me, is a signal. That pain is feedback. That pain is a blessing. The challenge is, and when we lie to ourselves, it's meant to be painful. To me, the pain that we feel is actually a sign. I would almost say this way: the pain that we feel is a sign that we're healthy, because the fire alarm is going off trying to get our attention. The issue is not the pain. The issue is that we don't listen to it. We drug it away, sex it away, drink it away, smoke it away,
Yes.
chop it away. And we don't allow ourselves to feel that, to acknowledge what the pain is signaling to us that we need to pay attention to. And when we don't deal with the pain, it will deal with us. And I think what you're doing is amazing with your health company, because when we don't feel the pain, it will tend to manifest as emotional pain, emotional sickness, depression, anxiety,
Mhm.
ongoing fear, lack of aliveness. Many times our lack of aliveness isn't even what we're eating, it's just what's eating us inside, what we're suppressing. And so we're suppressed so much that energetically, vibrationally, we feel so heavy, or it might manifest as a temporary physical ailment, a backache, a shoulder ache, a neck ache, or even if we keep suppressing the truth of what we feel, an ongoing dis-ease. And to me, dis-ease the mind and body are connected, this ease can be a
Yes.
manifestation of something, a deep part of something we're not paying attention to, and that this ease is an energy trying to speak to us, a part of us that is speaking to us because we haven't been listening. And so, to me, where we can start telling the truth to ourselves. What lies am I telling myself? We have to want the truth more than we
Yeah.
want what we have. We have to want to be free more than we want what we want. Freedom isn't free. Freedom requires letting stuff go, letting go of what's no longer aligned, letting go of what's not authentic, letting go of what's not true. But the truth will set you free. And I think if there's one thing people did and they started telling themselves the truth, feeling the truth, speaking the truth, living the truth, so much would shift.